Gigabyte Podcast, numero dos. I'm your host, Vin Randos, and today's going to be a bit of a guild business podcast. First off is the actual podcast itself. I actually had the entirety of the second podcast finished, and was about to send it off when a couple of problems arose. The first one was that it was simply too big. I couldn't find any way to actually get it to my video editor. I couldn't find any way to get it to him. It was 800 megabytes. Yes, the second podcast was almost 1 gigabyte in size. So, and the second problem I ran into was I couldn't find anywhere that would actually host a file that big. And on top of all of that, if I actually did find some sort of site that would let me host a file that big, the maximum storage space was about 2.5 gigabytes. So it wouldn't have really fixed it in the long term. So we've decided to basically use YouTube, which means that we're going to have to keep the podcasts at least to about 15 minutes in length. But on the plus side, we'll be able to do a lot of them. We'll be able to do them faster. And as long as I don't sign up to be a partner of YouTube, we can still use copyrighted material because it makes me happy to use music and stuff. And plus, because the the gigabyte long podcast was so long that I was having a lot of trouble finding music to put in and music to put in and just enough of it to fill it up. So yeah, that's a podcast. So just stay tuned for further ones. I'm basically going to take what I had from the second podcast and I'm going to break it down into multiple ones. So you'll probably be seeing a couple over the next 2 weeks. A bunch of them pumped out pretty quickly. God, I was really hoping to avoid saying a lot, but it looks like that trend is going to continue. You know, all those years in speech and debate and theater, you'd think that that would have been bred out of me, but apparently not. As soon as I graduated, all of that went out the window. Thank you very much, and it just goes to show everything you learn in high school is crap. It's not going to stick, so there you go. Grisma Shirk and Cedric Dewey, I'm not sure. Both of them have returned from their short leave of absences. Let's all rush over to chat and congratulate them on returning, and then congratulate them on their respective promotions, because I know it bugs Grizz a lot. We're also going to spend a little bit of time, well, actually probably most of this podcast, talking about the Harbinger debacle, or departure. I think debacle suits it a little bit better. I actually, the other day, I was coming to the server, and not the server, the website, to talk to Harbinger about getting what we were going to do about the podcast. I was going to come to him and say, you know, listen, I know you got really angry at me for making the first one. I hope you're past that. I would really like to get the next one out. How are you feeling about this? And it turned out he was gone. I had searched the forums. I searched the members on the site. I didn't see him anywhere. I went to talk to Jeffo, so I was like, yo, I mean, where is he? He said, well, I hope he's not on the site. And I was like, what? Well, yeah, he's gone. I'm sure all of you know that already. I'm probably the last person to find that out. Apparently, he made his own site. He began to advertise for it, and he was trying to recruit us, some of our members, into it. That's not a good thing. Needless to say, that's wow. I'm rereading Jeffos' post about this, and I'm still not really believing that he could have done that. That's, to be honest, it didn't really surprise me when he I actually had a chat with a couple of our masters and Harbinger in chat because he wanted to talk about it, and he was being very aggressive. He was trying to make me out to look. I admit I was a bit hasty, perhaps, but he was trying to make me look to be a really bad guy, and I had a big problem with that. And so I'm reading now that he was trying to stir up a lot of problems, a lot of controversy, and to be honest, that doesn't surprise me in the slightest. I'm surprised it didn't happen sooner. Constantly picking fights with administrators and other members based on an attitude problem. Partly of being envious of not being an administrator themselves. And maybe I was the only one who saw this, but the whole him freaking out when I was trying to remind him to get on the podcast about it belonging to the guild and not just to him, that again doesn't surprise me at all. It was quite obvious he wanted to be in control. And that's not something you want to be, folks. I mean, being a a leader is not all it's cracked up to be. I mean, yeah, you get to make a couple of, you get to make some choices, yeah, but it's a lot of hard work. I mean, you can't just say, "Ooh, I'm a leader now." No, it takes a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of maturity. It takes a lot of experience. And once you're there, it's honestly not that much fun. You don't get to interact with people as much because you're off doing work for the guild. Guys, there's no reason why anyone should ever be envious of anyone else in this guild because of their position. When you get down to it, it doesn't mean that much. Without the followers, the leaders mean nothing. They're only as powerful as you make them. That's not a let's all rebel because they're only as powerful as we make them thing. It's a reminder that just because you might just be an ordinary member, it does not mean that you're any less important. So, Harbinger basically violated the two of the biggest rules in the Army of Light. That's no drama and cause no harm. He did both despite repeated warnings and counseling talks. And he had to leave. That's basically how it went. He went off and made his own guild, his own form and stuff. I'm not going to say the name here because Master Jeffos, for a couple of reasons, one of which I'm about to say, he has asked that none of us go to his vent, his chats, his forums, his site, anything, because
it's a trap.
Yes, indeed, it is a trap. You do not want to go there. He has been trying to claim that our members have been harassing his site. No one here wants to think that anyone has been doing that because we're above that. But if you have been, or even if you haven't been, but you're thinking about it like I have, don't do it. It's a trap. Don't take the bait. Just don't do it. A couple of issues that Harbinger was trying to pin on the guild and the High Council members himself, I'm just going to address right here just to make sure that everyone is absolutely 100% clear. Members will not be snapped at, dismissed, demoted, or kicked out of the guild because you have a concern, suggestion, or idea. I know this better than most because I won't shut the hell up. I constantly am throwing ideas and criticizing and doing all sorts of stuff. And maybe it's a bit arrogant of me to go toe-to-toe with people like Caliber and Jeffos on a couple of issues, but I mean that's what I do, and I haven't been reprimanded at all for any of it. So I mean, if you have an idea, feel free to say it. But just because, keep in mind, just because we reject it or it's not accepted or a lot of people don't agree with you, it doesn't mean we're angry. It doesn't mean that we're ignoring you, doesn't mean we're abusing power. It just means that the idea was considered and it was deemed to not be in the guild's best interest for some reason. Usually you will be told the reason, but if not, you just got to trust that they're trying to do its best for everyone, or they have a better idea and they're working on something. Okay, guys? Two, there's no abuse of power. Again, we come back to the thing, we hang out on a website right now. We have no game to play in, really. Owners and moderators are tasked with enforcing the rules of the guild in regards to language, appropriate topics, blah, 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 to help keep the guild mature and family-friendly. That's entirely within their power. That's the reason they're there, to keep everything happy and to make sure we don't tear each other's throats out. And if you want to do something sort of out of bounds of the terms of use, do it in private chat with someone else. Have a private talk. Don't do it in main chat. So, I mean, a lot of the High Council members here, they do pay out of pocket for the things we enjoy here. Especially Caliber, for our site, our forums, our templates. Do not take them for granted. They are making this place great for us, and that's why we're one of the strongest guilds out there. Oh, another thing. Oh, don't remember that just because you don't see a counseling or disciplinary action take place doesn't mean that it won't happen. It just probably won't happen in public. There's a very specific time when you need to do it in front of other people, and that doesn't really apply just casually in chat. A lot of times that will be in private, so don't harass or say that you're not doing anything to restrict certain members from doing this or that. They've probably already done it just in private. I mean, you're not the only real person. I mean, it's easy to get into that mindset when you're young and when you're a teenager. The world revolves around you. You're the only real person, but everyone else is exactly like you. They have jobs, they have families, they have classes, they have obligations. It's really important to remember that they have lives too. They can't be in the guild. In fact, Jeffos, he's 30. I don't know, but I mean, adults actually have more of a life than teenagers. They have more things to do than playing a game or being on the internet. So just remember that. Finally, Harbinger is going to remain banned. If he comes to talk to you, if he comes to try and recruit you, just anything, he's going to be banned. If he tries to approach you at a chat, you need to ignore him, block him, and then report him to the High Council immediately. If you do not like the rules and environment of this guild, leave. Don't pull BS. Don't do anything. Don't create drama. Don't be immature. Just leave. Okay? We'll actually think more of you because of it. You know, not everyone's going to be a fit for this guild. And if you simply don't like it here, then just leave. No harm, no foul. You know, you can just go to the forums and say, hey, listen, I don't think this really is my thing. You don't have to go into details. You don't have to harass us. You don't have to beat on us. You just have to say, listen, this isn't good for me. Or this isn't right. This isn't the right fit. I'm just going to leave. And that'll be fine. That's it. I mean, don't do what Harbinger did. That is as a one-way ticket to, oh god, I can't use language. Or maybe I can. No, I can't. I want to set an example. That's what I need to do, even though I am a total potty mouth. Yeah, it's a one-way ticket towards being banned and earning all of our disrespect, basically. If there's one thing I can guarantee you, you are going to be treated exactly like you treat others. If you treat others well, we're going to treat you well. If you treat others like crap, I can guarantee you we're going to treat you like crap. We have a new Ventrilo server. Caliber and Jeffos acquired one. It's not up yet. It's still being edited. Some things are going on with it. So just stay tuned for that information. And hopefully we'll have it up soon enough. Remember that we also have the 1-year anniversary coming up for the guild. Caliber is trying to tantalize us with promises of big blow-up, awesome things, and RP events, blah, blah, blah. So, again, stay tuned for that as well. We're definitely looking forward to that, Caliber. You better release something soon, or we're all going to explode with excitement. Hopefully there's something about our old Jedi Academy server coming back up. I would really like to see that back into the guild. Oh, teachers, before this podcast ends, we need to remind everyone to start teaching classes and start attending classes. I've been really bad about this as much as anyone else, but that's something that really needs to be fixed. Everyone needs to get into their respective class form and start updating it, posting class times, etc. So, that concludes the second podcast of Light. Thank you everyone for listening. Stay tuned for podcast 3, which should be released fairly shortly after this one. This has been the Army of Light podcast, where those who fear the dark have never seen the light. Take it easy, and may the Force be with you.